So convertible note, usually the ways of investing we talked about today are either in equity instruments or debt instruments. Convertible note is a type of a debt instrument, and usually they're used because you're not quite sure how to price the round at this point. And so they use a convertible note where you don't have to actually decide on the valuation. That could be because of the stage, because of the amount of money you're raising, because of what it signals. There's a lot of reasons to not price around. And at that point, a convertible note is, like I said, a debt instrument, but it's debt that usually in the next round or with some trigger, it'll convert to equity. So you are starting to think about what the equity terms will be, but it's set up and it's usually a little bit of a faster process, less legal kind of documentation for it as well. So it usually also kind of makes the process a little bit faster, which can be valuable at certain stages of a company as well.
Now on the investor side, how do you look at a convertible note?
The main terms in a convertible note that you want to know is, one, is there a cap? So basically what that says is no matter what, let's say the next round they do an equity round where what you're called your convertible note, the reason the word convertible, it's going to convert into equity. So the next round you could say it has a cap of how high it could be. So let's say you invest in a convertible note and it has a cap of $7 million. The next round is done at a $10 million pre-valuation before the rest of the money comes in. But you're capped at 7. So no matter what the entrepreneur, the company ends up getting investment in the next round, your cap is $7 million, let's say, or it could be it can range quite a bit, those caps. But that's one term. There's also uncapped notes, but often that's one of the main terms. Another main term is a discount to the next round. So you might have a cap and a discount. So meaning it can be a 20% discount, or a cap. So it's whatever is the higher of those two. So in that same example I was giving, if you have a 7 million cap and a 20% discount, if it gets done at 10 million, you will be in at 7. If it gets done at 6, you get a 20% discount to that, but you'll be in at 5.4 million. So that's how a discount or a cap works. And those are kind of the main two terms. And then there's an interest rate, and you might look at that, but people that can vary a little bit. And obviously it does have implication because you're collecting interest, and if it takes 12 months for it to convert, which usually they have that time, you're collecting interest along the way. So that is an important term. It can have implications of the amount you end up converting into the next round, but it's maybe a little less discussed term than the other two. There's some other terms, but I would say those are probably the three that you're most kind of in your mind thinking about.
And when do you typically encounter a convertible note? Is it earlier in a company's development?
Yeah, I would say in general, if you haven't invested in the company before, that's when you're going to encounter them. So you're going to have a convertible note, and because it's just an early round and people don't know, like you said, people don't know how to price it at that point. The only other time you can see it later, they're usually like bridges to a round where like it's maybe a little bit later stage. They need a little money to get to funding or to prove one more thing out in the product traction. And then, so they set a convertible note or they're close to getting around, but they need an extra $300K to get the run rate. They have deal terms set on the next round. It can come in then. Usually a new investor doesn't come in that round. It can happen, but it's usually existing investors who will do a convertible note at that stage. So it can happen in later stage, but for new investors, usually they're coming in a note. It's because it's quite an earlier round.